Although,
Yeah.
you know who isn't burdened with a day job?
Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent Bob. So, we decided to review Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I saw it
Yes.
available for streaming somewhere. I had never actually seen the whole movie. And when I suggested it, and by the way, we were picking over the bones of what looked interesting to review.
Yes. Yeah.
Like inside baseball, like usually after the show, we'll spend like a half hour or so just chatting and picking out movies and putting together the thumbnails and everything. Um, we picked our real classic movie pretty early on, as I recall, but we were just flailing around, and I finally said, okay, how about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? When I suggested this, I had no idea that Daniel really hadn't seen any of Kevin Smith's movie corpus.
No, I have not.
So this must have made no sense to you whatsoever.
Not really, no. Although thankfully I knew enough about his movies that I was kind of able to piece some things together and figure out who was who. So like specifically, like I mean, I knew Jay and Silent Bob were, but like like the guys from Clerks, I know who they are. Ben Affleck's character. It took me a minute to figure out that that's his character from Chasing Amy. I the red, and then although what's his name's character, the guy at the far end there.
I think he's from Mallrats, as I recall.
Okay, Mallrats. All right.
Well, at least the comic book store, I think, is from Mallrats.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I had not. No, I'm not partaken of any Kevin Smith movies. So yeah, this was an experience.
Yeah. So I think that this is probably the most self-indulgent movie I've ever seen, and I'm even counting things like the Taika Waititi Thor movies, the Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Because I am amazed that Smith got the funding to put this together.
Yeah. Well, he must have still been really good friends with Weinstein.
Yeah, that couldn't have hurt. Also, I looked at the budget on Wikipedia. It was like 22 million, and it made 33 million back. So, but this was also when it would have gotten a lot of blockbuster rentals, cable, which is where I had seen scenes from it before, which is why I was always intrigued.
Yeah.
VHS and DVD purchases.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for it in theaters, and I remember thinking at the time, like, it looked really stupid.
You weren't wrong. So this movie is basically, well, it starts off as sort of an origin story of Jay and Silent Bob, who just have really irresponsible mothers who leave them outside in the open in front of the video rental store where they'll eventually make a living selling pot on the side of the road.
Yeah. An interesting little bit of trivia. The baby playing Silent Bob is actually Kevin Smith's daughter.
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised to see that. Like, that's a neat little thing. Like, she was the right age to, not look, for it not to matter.
Yeah.
Also, she's named Harley Quinn Smith, which, boy, I wonder if she has an opinion on how that character's been degraded over time.
Yeah. And, hey, Arcos, good to see you. Says Kevin Smith should stay in front of the screen instead of behind it. Never seen Mallrats, but this and Clerks are classics. Yeah, I need to see Clerks at some point.
I would say Clerks is good. I would actually say if you only watch one of his movies, my favorite is Dogma. That was basically him going through some stuff with his faith, and so it's actually that's why somebody refers, or I think there's a scene where Jay refers to God as a she. Well, that isn't like being weird. That's because in that movie he's met God, and she was played by Alanis Morissette.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Okay.
So like the reference is pile high. Um, but what the movie really is that, and I actually had some of these comic books back in the day. They had a comic book that was based on the antics of Jay and Silent Bob called Blunt Man and Chronic. And Jay and Silent Bob discover that uh, the comic book creator played by Ben Affleck
Yeah.
and Jason Lee.
Yeah.
Actually, no, is it Jason? Yeah, Jason Lee.
Yeah.
Had got sold their rights to a movie to make a comic book movie. Which, boy, that 2001, that would have been like a Blade level thing at most.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's only a year after X-Men.
Yeah, so this thing would not have. I kind of call BS on the whole premise that this movie would actually get greenlit and made, but they deal with a very, very early online forum where everyone is making fun of them, and so they go, "We got to stop them from making that movie." Never mind that they should really be going out there to go, "Hey, we want the money based from that movie that's based on our lives."
Yeah, which I think even Ben Affleck's character was kind of telling them to do that.
Right? Just take the money. No, man, people are making fun of us.
Yeah, they fail to realize that, like, well, yeah, it's the internet. People are going to make fun of you. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yep. Oh, by the way, I realized that since I now know one person who had never seen one of these movies before. So Jay and Silent Bob, classic stoner comedy pair. Jay is the foul-mouthed, loud one. Personality is actually very similar to Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, now that I think about it. Bombastic idiot who thinks he knows everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kevin Smith's character is Silent Bob, who's largely silent.
When he's until he isn't. Actually the dynamic between the two of them kind of reminded me of Phineas and Ferb.
Actually, yeah, it's just an R-rated Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
Also, way less IQ, but
Yeah.
but it's like it's clear that Bob is the smart one, but he just goes along because he doesn't like talking.
Yeah. And so it's basically a road trip movie.
Which I gotta say, I was not expecting because although okay, when I saw the movie, I saw bits of the end where they were in Hollywood, and I had never seen this poster where they have the clear map in the background. Now that I look at it,
Oh yeah.
or if I had seen it, I had missed the map aspect. So I just assumed the whole thing would be them taking the piss out of Hollywood.
Yeah, and they do it to a degree in a few scenes. With like well, a lot of it was making fun of Miramax.
Right. But yeah, like all road comedies, you have a big middle where they run into a bunch of nonsense, and I'd say that part was pretty good. Uh, God. So they run into George Carlin, who I guess was a buddy of Smith's, or at least was willing to show up in his movies repeatedly.
Yeah.
Um, and he's playing a hobo. And hey, it's assumed that you give mouth love if somebody picks you up on the side of the road. It's what makes everything go. Then a nun played by Carrie Fisher, picks them up, and she says something to the effect of, "Well, you know what you have to do." Okay.
Yeah, the entire time they're sitting in the car, they're talking about two different things.
Yeah. And then so at that point the movie was firing on all cylinders. It was just goofy, silly fun.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole subplot with the love interest was padding.
Yeah, I felt that way. Yeah, because I mean, let's face it, Kevin Smith was looking for an excuse to put four beautiful women in skin tight cat suits.
Yes, and really,
Who can blame him? I mean,
yes. Also, this was apparently originally meant to be the last movie made in this universe, so it makes some sense to give Jay a love interest to, ride off into the sunset with.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, because I think Clerks 2 came out after this, right?
Yep, and Clerks
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
And there's probably some others mixed in there. I don't know if any of his other movies qualify as being part of this continuity.
Yeah, because I think there was another. I think they did another Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Or like a cartoon or something. I'm not super versed in it.
Yeah, they did. Well, yeah, there was a Clerks cartoon.
That came out before this, I want to say.
Okay,
I actually want to say, yeah, I actually own this on DVD. By the way, sidebar, I kind of feel like the Clerks animated series was unjustly. ABC did not treat animation well, and they kept asking for adult animation, then not being sure what to do with it.
Yeah.
Between this and the critic.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Okay, yeah, there was a Jane Silent Bob reboot is what it's called. It came out in 2019.
Okay, I vaguely remember hearing about that.
Yeah,
but anyhow,
yeah.
So in the course of things, these beautiful women are a part of some sort of animal liberation front type thing with a very dirty name that I would choose not to go into here.
Yeah, boy, yeah, they went all out with that joke, didn't they?
Yeah, and Will Ferrell is an insane park ranger trying to catch them.
Yeah, because they stole an orangutan.
Yep. And what really struck me was just what a different world 2001 was, because maybe that's why Kevin Smith has spent the last 10 years being politically correct, being a nerd shill for hire, making things like the He-Man cartoon reboot.
Yeah.
Just as a huge apology for this phase of his life.
Yeah. It was a simpler time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't think. Yeah, this is one of those movies they couldn't make today.
Yeah. And unlike Tropic Thunder, I don't necessarily know that we're worse off for not being drowning in movies like this.
No, yeah.
Like, I think it ends well and it starts well.
Yeah.
Because like I love the bits where they just keep playing around with Ben Affleck, like being multiple roles in the movie, including as Ben Affleck in a sequel to Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have a whole code for him having a dead hooker in his trailer.
Yeah. Another joke he would get in trouble for today.
Yeah. Oh man.
Also, when they were on the Miramax lot, there was a character just in a comic book accurate Daredevil costume. I wonder if that was Affleck too. Like if he was in that for that scene.
Maybe, yeah. Because this came out just before Daredevil.
Yeah, like I forget what year that came out. Was it like 2003? Let's find out.
I want to say 2002. Because I actually had a friend who worked in the movie theater.
Okay.
And he quit his job opening night of that movie.
February 14th, 2003.
Oh, 2003. Okay.
I'd forgotten they kind of put that out in the dead zone.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. That's a
actually, that one did have Elektra very heavily focused on, so I guess that it's kind of like the Deadpool logic, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like short of sitting here and just recounting a bunch of gags. There's some cameos you might expect. There's some cameos you might not expect.
Yeah.
I think that before watching this, you definitely would have to have. I'd say like Clerks is a must. Mallrats, as long as you can just accept that they know a guy who runs a comic book shop, you don't actually have to know anything about that. Dogma, like I said, just had a couple of offhanded jokes that Uh, yeah, I think if you just see Clerks and then maybe pick one of their other movies and watch it, you're probably in good shape.
Yeah. Okay.
It is just dumb stoner comedy, which is exactly what it promised.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Which, if I'm being honest, stoner comedy really isn't my forte.
No, I will say that Jay's actor, Jason Mewes, he definitely, because of the silent nature of Silent Bob, he does have to carry the movie, and he does a good job doing enough talking for the both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
He's got this weird asshole charisma, is what I'll call it,
Yeah.
which is very hard to pull off.
Yes, it is. Yeah. uh, yeah. I mean, the performances were decent in this. Although we were remarking before the show that Chris Rock is kind of like a non-entity in this movie.
Yeah, he is there strictly because in 2001 he was a huge deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
But
get way
yeah.
more Will Ferrell than him.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, and this movie was before Will Ferrell was a thing.
Right. Like at this point, he was just a up and comer on SNL,
Mm.
if I recall my timing properly.
Um, I think might have been at the tail end of his
Okay.
SNL stint, and then he was transitioning to movies. But yeah, I mean, it's all right. I like I said before, I should probably watch Clerks just to get a better sense of Kevin Smith's like style.
I would call it his most culturally significant contribution.
Yeah,
I think that my favorite of his movies I've seen is Dogma still,
yeah.
but I think we are struggling to find anything to talk about besides just rattling off jokes.